All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about one of history's most important inventions. But here's the thing. It's probably not what you're thinking. It's not a weapon, it's not the wheel, it's not even some fancy new metal. Nope, it's a pretty simple tool that gave humanity the power to truly master fire, and in doing that, it changed absolutely everything.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll uncover this mystery invention. Then we'll look at the huge problem it solved when it came to fire. We'll see how it totally transformed metal and glass making, explore the incredible ripple effects it had on society, and finally, we'll get into the massive shift it represented in our ability to control the natural world.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a little riddle. We are looking for a piece of tech that quietly became the engine of ancient industry, and it did it all by figuring out a way to basically supercharge a simple flame.
So what do you think it is? Just take a second. When you think of ancient breakthroughs, what pops into your head? Maybe bronze? Iron? The aqueduct? All amazing answers for sure, but not the one we're looking for today. And here's a little hint to narrow it down for you. The invention itself wasn't a new material to work with or even a new kind of building to work in. It was something way more fundamental. It was a tool that changed the very nature of heat itself.
And the answer is the bellows. Yep, the bellows. It's basically a device that grabs air and then forces it right into a fire. Now that simple action was an absolute game changer because it allowed people for the very first time to reliably control the temperature of their fires, pushing them way, way hotter than was ever naturally possible.
So why was this such a big deal? Well, that brings us right to the core problem that ancient civilizations were up against, the limits of a normal everyday fire.
You see, the contrast here is everything. A regular old fire is great for, cooking some food or staying warm, but for any kind of serious industrial work, it's just too weak, too unreliable. To smelt metal from rock or fuse sand into glass, you need intense, steady, and controllable heat. And a bellows-fed fire, that delivered big time. And the science behind it is just beautifully simple. Fire needs oxygen to burn. So, by forcing more air into the fire, the bellows supplied a constant rush of fresh oxygen, which made the fuel burn way hotter and way more efficiently. It's a really direct and powerful relationship.
The process itself is just so simple but so effective. First, the bellows expands to suck in air, then it's squeezed to force that air out through a nozzle right into the heart of the fire. And boom, that targeted airflow immediately jacks up the heat. It turned fire from just a natural element into a precision-engineered tool.
So, with this incredible new control over fire, which industries really took off? Well, the answer lies in two areas that were completely reinvented by this one simple tool: metalworking and glassmaking.
When you think about it, both metallurgy and glassmaking face the exact same problem, a temperature barrier. To get metal out of ore or to melt sand into glass, you need crazy high, sustained temperatures that a normal campfire just can't deliver. The bellows was the key that unlocked both of these crafts, boosting furnace heat to exactly where it needed to be.
Honestly, a great way to think about it is like an ancient turbocharger for a furnace. It didn't create the fire out of nothing, it took the fire you already had and just amplified its power, making workshops way more productive and powerful than ever before.
And here's where it gets really important. This wasn't just some small technical fix for a couple of workshops. The ability to create better metal and clearer glass, that had a massive, massive ripple effect across entire societies.
And just look at this chain reaction. Better heat meant stronger, sharper tools and weapons. It meant clearer glass for windows, or more beautiful decorative items. Workshops that were more productive led to stronger economies. Stronger economies led to more trade. And all of that concentrated wealth and power in the hands of the rulers who controlled these new industries.
This quote really just sums it up perfectly. By mastering something as simple as airflow, ancient people indirectly changed culture itself, from the quality of a farmer's plow to the design of a queen's jewelry. It's a pretty powerful reminder of how one little piece of technology can shape our entire world.
And it's also really important to see that the bellows didn't just exist on its own. Its invention actually drove the evolution of the workshop itself. Furnaces had to be redesigned to handle all that forced air, and the whole manufacturing process became much more systematic and, well, more advanced.
This all leads us to our final and maybe our biggest point. The invention of the bellows marks a huge shift in thinking, a huge change in humanity's relationship with the natural world.
Just look at the leap shown here. On one hand, you have a simple campfire that's just using a natural process. But on the other hand, you have an engineered furnace with just the right fuel and a bellows directing the airflow for a very specific result.
That is controlling a natural process. It's the difference between finding a resource and engineering one.
This was a massive step forward. The ability to precisely guide and manipulate a natural force like fire is what separates simple tool use from true industry. And the humble bellows, it was one of the very first steps on that very long road.
And that leaves us with one final thought. The bellows was a simple tool that just amplified a process that already existed, and it had world-changing results. So it kind of makes you wonder, right? What seemingly simple boost to a technology we already have might be waiting out there to completely change our world today?